What is up, my fellow schizotypals? Did you hear that noise? And welcome back to Highlight with Carlisle Fletcher. Episode 16, I think we're on. Wednesday. We got a little bit, as you might be able to tell from the set, got a little bit of fun. Got a little bit of things. I don't know, just life happens as life happens. Anyways, MDMA therapy, why you should finish your work. Why the most important thing is finishing it all. And then, thank you, I'm sorry. So that's the show for today. That's what we got to get into. Of course, it's hot as fuck. It's like 90 degrees. That's why Pitt's out. But, yeah, let's just see what we got going on. We're going to start off just an update on the autism thing. So this just came out 21st of May. I really just wanted to highlight, because it's a review of the treatment of the condition. So few participants had to interrupt treatment before the end of the first month due to adverse effects such as insomnia, irritability, rapid heartbeat, and worsening of psychobehavioral crisis. The patients who had relevant side effects were all taking several medications, including at least one antipsychotic. So I just wanted to bring that one up because I don't know, that's interesting, isn't it? Also, so they have this rat model where they showed that CBD could exert antidepressant effects. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to cover. Just not these aren't the main things we're going to be into today, but just wanted to throw them out there as updates on what's going on. This was published 10 May, or so this is the 10th of May. This is an MDMA-assisted therapy for severe PTSD, and it is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled phase 3 study. So this is some real shit. This is research. You cannot really play this bitch down. So, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, prevents a major public health problem for which currently available treatments are modestly effective. We report the findings of a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, multi-site phase 3 clinical trial to test the efficacy and safety of 3,4-methyl MDMA assisted therapy for the treatment of patients with severe PTSD, including those with common comorbidities such as dissociation, depression, a history of alcohol and substance use disorders, and childhood trauma. After psychiatric medication washout, participants were randomized 1-to-1 to receive manual therapy with MDMA or with placebo. And it was measured, PTSD symptoms were measured with the clinician-administered PTSD scale for DSM-5, and functional impairment measured with the Sheehan disability scale, were assessed at baseline at 2 months after the last experimental session. Adverse events and suicidality were tracked throughout the study. MDMA was found to induce significant and robust attenuation in score compared with placebo. So while placebo had less than 0.0001 correlation to improved symptoms, MDMA had 0.9, and to significantly decrease the SDS, the PTSD score and the trauma score. MDMA did not induce adverse effects of abuse potential, suicidality, or I'm guessing. So what are we looking at? QT. Obviously dense literature, so you know. I don't really know what QT is referring to here, but these data indicate that compared with manualized therapy and inactive placebo, MDMA-assisted therapy is highly efficacious in individuals with severe PTSD, and treatment is safe and well tolerated, even in those with comorbidities. We conclude that MDMA therapy represents a potential breakthrough treatment that merits expedited clinical evaluation. So, great work here. And the parts that I wanted to highlight, because there's a lot that I also wanted to read through, but the abstract does, so that's what we're talking about. So, let's just go first into SSRIs are the approved first-line therapeutics for the treatments of PTSD. However, 40 to 60%, so that many out of 10, that many fingers, 40 to 60, 40 to 60 of patients do not respond to these compounds. Although there is Likewise, although evidence-based trauma-focused psychotherapy such as prolonged exposure and cognitive behavioral therapy are considered to be the gold standard treatment for PTSD, many participants fail to respond or continue to have significant symptoms, and dropout rates are high. Novel, cost-effective therapeutics are therefore desperately needed. So, like, I think that we're representing a change here, where SSRIs are the Band-Aid on the bleeding wound, and then, like, MDMA might be able to solder it, or, like, seal the wound. So that's what I would say is that's what this analogy looks like to me, because we're gonna go on further, but like the statistics behind SSRIs are so fucking weak. So MDMA has been shown to enhance fear memory extinction. So PTSD is trauma, and then the trauma is the fear thing. That's like what is basically the coding with it. So fear memory extinction makes that fear go away, takes away the traumatic attachment. Modulate fear memory reconsolidation, possibly through oxytocin dependent mechanisms, and bolster social behavior in animal models. Here we assess the efficacy and safety of MDMA therapy in individuals with severe PTSD. Participants were given 3 doses of MDMA or placebo in a controlled clinical environment and in the presence of a trained therapy team. Primary and secondary outcome measures were assessed by a centralized pool of blinded, independent diagnostic assessors. So it was this is a real study. It's done with like blinding and it's the review of information. It's not like somebody who's just like, it's not advocacy. It's like it is trying to see what it actually does. So let's go now. They also controlled for so MDMA was equally effective in participants with comorbidities that are often associated with treatment resistance. Participants with the dissociative subtype of PTSD who received MDMA therapy had significant symptom reductions, and this was similar to that in their counterparts with non-dissociative PTSD. The benefit of MDMA therapy was not modulated by history of alcohol use disorder, history of substance use disorder, overnight stay, or severe childhood trauma. So even in dissociative PTSD patients, even with people who had childhood trauma, even with people who had addiction, these people are still seeing these positive effects from the therapy with MDMA. And I just think that when we're just looking at that, this is obviously of severe significance. And it's not LOL drugs getting legalized, haha. It's like, no, how do we actually start changing things? How do we actually start reforming the world? Like that, there's that analogy that I repeated from Brad Bogus, which is that the body or the brain is a ski slope and psychedelics are fresh snow, and that's where MDMA might be. It's like if it's fear memory extinction and it's allowing people to just reset their lives. When you're looking at somebody who's shell shocked, where they literally they hear a firework and they think that they're back there, or their road rage just makes them feel it just triggers them back into something. You obviously need to help these people. It's obviously an issue within the medical community. It's obviously people who are going to need attention. And seeing a 0.9 association with positive symptoms is we are moving forward with it. This is the future. MDMA therapy is coming. So, this is the foundations that it's built on. So, I would say learning this stuff makes it a lot less scary. And I think it's arming yourself with information, but also thinking about what do you really want to try out? Where do you really want to go with things? Because I would say that this is less fucking scary. So this is just the so these are placebo, I think. Yeah. So this is placebo, and then this is MDMA assisted therapy. So placebo had that much remission. That's how much the MDMA group did. This is 1 session, 2 session, 3 session. So you can just see that this is the this is a good representation of, just to make that clear, how much more efficacious MDMA is at treating than placebo. So it's obviously that there's a correlation here that is of distinct importance. So let's see. The next thing that I wanted to get to was these data. Let me see if I can find that. So together, I think, let's see if this is the right. These data illustrate the potential benefit of MDMA-assisted therapy for PTSD over FDA approved first-line pharmacotherapy, sertraline and paroxetine, which have both exhibited smaller effect size in pivotal studies. Previous comparison of change in CAP scores between sertraline and placebo showed an effect size of 0.31 and 0.37. Similarly, comparisons of CAP score between paroxetine and placebo showed an effect size of 0.56 and 0.54 and 0.09. By contrast, the effect size of 0.91 demonstrated in the study between MDMA-assisted therapy and placebo with therapy was larger than for any other previously identified PTSD pharmacotherapy. To directly address superiority, a head-to-head comparison of MDMA-assisted therapy with SSRIs for PTSD would be needed. Although the present study tested the effects of MDMA using a model in which both treatment groups received supportive therapy, participants who received MDMA and supportive therapy had greater improvements in PTSD change scores compared with those who received placebo with supportive therapy, suggesting that MDMA enhanced the effects of supportive therapy. In clinical practice, both MDMA and supportive therapy would be components of this PTSD treatment. So, like, that is just holy shit. You know, as somebody where it's like my entire family is on antidepressants and various, you know, like high blood pressure, all that shit. Like, my family is like, they take like 8 pills a day, whatever. An honest number is like 16. You know, like, it's like I've seen, because it's like it's the pill boxes. Everybody with family who takes pills has the pill boxes, you know, the days of the month. And, you know, like, seeing that, like just imagining where it's like, you know, trust the science, like, just listen to your doctor. It's like, but you're looking at things which have a 0.31 and a 0.37. And, like, this is just a really crude understanding of effect sizes and things like that. But, like, to me, this looks like a 33% chance of working, while a 0.91 looks like a 90% chance of working. Maybe that's an incorrect way of assuming or, like, reading this data. But at the same time, I'd much rather go with the higher one. You know, at the same, like, these things that we treat as, like, you know, the first line, like, this is what you do for these conditions. I mean, just look at them. Look at the studies. Read it yourself. I understand you're not scientifically trained, most likely. But still, don't condescend to yourself. And don't think that you can't understand stuff. Don't think that you're a doctor, but think that you have enough place to question your doctor. Because your doctor is not practicing religion. Your doctor is practicing science. And every single doctor is downstream from money. They're all doing it as a job, and that means that the lobbyist groups and the pharmaceutical groups and just big industry have an interest in what they have to say. You know, so there are doctors who don't want you to be on pills, who will prescribe you pills because they have, you know, they make money off of it. And also, like, looking at this one, I'm assuming that this might be a fluke study because, like, that's such a low number, but, you know, 0.91 versus 0.09. That's a 10 times large. Like, I'm done just whining about it, but still, it's just fucking crazy. So previous research showed that those with SSRIs might not respond well to Molly, but there's no obvious relationship. And there's also no obvious relationship between duration or onset of PTSD. So anybody with PTSD was shown to be potentially benefited by this therapy option. So it's not even like, you know, just specific groups of like veterans or people with childhood trauma or people who had it later in life. There's something about this on a chemical level that seems to be responding to the condition. Serotonin and the serotonin transporters are particularly important in the generation, consolidation, retrieval, and reconsolidation of fear memories. Reduced serotonin transporter levels have been shown to predict propensity to develop PTSD and increase fear and anxiety-related behaviors and induce greater amygdalar blood oxygenation level-dependent activity in response to fearful images. There's extensive serotonergic intervention of the amygdala, and the amygdala serotonin levels have been shown to increase following exposure to stressful and fear-inducing stimuli. MDMA enhances the instinction of fear memories in mice. I feel like we don't really need that right now, but still it's fascinating. So definitely read it if you're interested, but I don't know if we need it for the show. Okay, so I'm just looking through my notes on this. We've got a little bit left to go. But, so, it is intriguing, is the phrase that now we need. It is intriguing. There we go. It is intriguing to speculate that the pharmacological properties of MDA, when combined with therapy, may produce a window of tolerance in which participants are able to revisit and process traumatic content without becoming overwhelmed or encumbered by hyperarousal and dissociative symptoms. MDMA-assisted therapy may facilitate recall of negative or threatening memories with greater self-compassion and less PTSD-related shame and anger. Additionally, the acute, pro-social, and interpersonal effects of MDMA may support the quality of the therapeutic alliance, a potentially important factor relating to PTSD treatment adherence and outcome. Indeed, clinicians have suggested that MDMA may catalyze therapeutic processing by allowing patients to stay emotionally engaged while revisiting traumatic experiences without becoming overwhelmed. Given that PTSD is a strong predictor of disability in both veteran and community populations, it is promising to note the robust reduction in PTSD and depressive symptoms identified here is complemented by a significant improvement in SDS score, for example, in like social functioning. Approximately 4.7 million U.S. veterans reported service-related disability, costing the U.S. government approximately $73 billion per year. Identification of a PTSD treatment that could improve social and family functioning and ameliorate impairment across a broad range of environmental contexts could provide major medical cost savings, in addition to improving the quality of life for veterans and others affected by this disorder. Yeah. Yeah, it does save money, which is like, it's an interesting one to, it's an interesting one to focus on, but I mean, yeah, it is there. And then like we're going to end off on this study with these two things. So although recent research suggests that the dissociative subtype of PTSD is difficult to treat, participants with the dissociative subtype who received MDMA-assisted therapy had significant symptom reduction that was at least similar to that of their counterparts with non-dissociative PTSD. Given that this covariate was significant, it warrants further study. Furthermore, given that the other treatments for PTSD are not consistently effective for those with the dissociative subtype, these data, if replicated, would indicate an important novel therapeutic niche for MDMA-assisted therapy for typically hard-to-treat populations. Okay, so treatment-resistant mental or psychiatric disorders are very interesting. And again, I'm not a medical professional, but I come from a family with a lot of psychiatric disorders, and I am also a difficult-to-treat psychiatric case. Because I just don't respond well to pills. All of my family have incredible tolerances to whether that's an opiate or a benzo. Just naturally, it's like, it's hard to find the right things. But one of the things that happens with like family members that I have that have bipolar with psychotic features is that they'll be given stimulants for depression because antidepressants don't really work for them. Either because their body doesn't respond with it or they're on such a cocktail that it just gets fucking lost in there. So they start giving them essentially a meth, or they give them, because Adderall is very close to meth. MDMA is from a similar substance. We'll go through a creation of MDMA segment or an episode just to talk about that. But, when you're looking at that, where it's like they're giving these people literal stimulants. My father was on stimulants. So many people in my family have been given those substances just to like fix a psychiatric disorder. And what's the difference? Because I haven't seen that help anybody. I haven't seen that make anything better. But I have known several people who've changed their mind about how they think about things after taking MDMA, especially either in private or with somebody who can replicate a therapeutic setting. So, just as somebody who comes from a family that we have a high propensity, or not high propensity, but a high concentration of difficult to treat psychiatric disorders, I really appreciate studies like these and conversations like these, because it's like I have more belief in this than just the spinning around the wheel of random medications that you just keep throwing at the wall until something sticks, Importantly, there were no major safety issues reported in the MDMA arm of this study. My mother died from Xanax withdrawal, and she was prescribed that medicine by her doctor. So that would be maybe a major safety issue I would describe. But although abuse potential, cardiovascular risk, and suicidality were recorded, MDMA was not shown to induce or potentiate any of these conditions. In addition, although there was often a transient increase in blood pressure during MDMA sessions, this was expected on phase 2 data in previous studies in healthy volunteers. These data suggest that MDMA has an equivalent, if not better, safety profile compared to that of first-line SSRIs for the treatment of PTSD, which are known to carry a low risk of interval prolongation. I didn't even. We may be soon confronted with the potentially enormous economic and social repercussions of PTSD, exacerbated by the whoa. Overwhelmingly high rates of psychological and mental health impairment could be with us for years to come and are likely to impart a considerable emotional and economic burden. Novel PTSD therapies are desperately needed, especially for those for whom comorbidities confer treatment resistance. In summary, MDMA therapy induces rapid onset of treatment efficacy, even in those with severe PTSD, and in those with associated comorbidities, including dissociative PTSD, depression, history of alcohol and substance abuse disorders, and childhood trauma. Not only is MDMA assisted therapy efficacious in individuals with severe PTSD, but it may also provide improved patient safety. Again, my mother died from a psychiatric disorder that she was being treated for. You know, like if she was not on Xanax, she would not be dead. So yeah, I would say that would improve patient safety if instead of trying to address her anxiety with Xanax, you did so with MDMA or something that does not have the potential to kill somebody when they did not have enough of it. Compared with the first line pharmacological and behavioral therapies, MDMA-assisted therapy has the potential to dramatically transform treatment for PTSD and should be expeditiously evaluated for clinical use. I mean, also, so PTSD, I think, is the real fucking elephant in the room when you're talking about anything. You're talking about autism, you're talking about drug addiction, you're talking about people who have criminality, you're talking about personality disorders, you're talking about any of that sort of shit. I think PTSD is the common factor. Most schizophrenics have PTSD. Most people with BPD, most people with whatever. If something's wrong with somebody, a lot of the time, it's PTSD. Not like, oh shit, I did not... You know, this is a show about thoughts. This is a show about ideas. It's not smooth all the time. We can't reshoot that. That's been good conversation. So I'm sorry that my big ass head was in the way, but damn. Oh well, we'll roll with it. But yeah, so I just wanted to say, like, you know, like I just don't. This sort of work is very important to me because it highlights alternative treatment options that don't have the potential for destruction in the same way. Where it's like, you know, losing feeling. I've seen plenty of my family members lose feeling in their body, like, you know, just so I'm like, it's because it's like there's this sort of lifestyle. You know, it's like, as somebody where it's like we promote, well, we don't promote. The researchers say, I don't support smoking pot. I think that it does work in some things, and I think it has niche application. MDMA, I'm the same way about. I don't really believe in recreational activity. I don't really like fun. I'm not the fun guy. You can't really take me out. I'm not going to have a good time. You probably won't have a good time with me. But I am kind of funny. You know, I kind of try to make fun of things. So that's it. I don't really do the whole, whoa, bro, let's fucking kick it. You know, so I'm not really supporting these substances from that point of view. The thing about it, though, is like when we're talking about weed making it more likely, like people who smoke weed are more likely to exercise, and you know, and in MDMA, I think you can fit it in the same ways. Like what we want to do is, when I was a kid, my favorite therapist that I've ever had told me that you're not supposed to be in therapy forever. You're supposed to be working on something and then getting to a point where you feel better and then you feel like you can take care of yourself. And then maybe if things go wrong again, you come back to therapy at that point. But you should be in and out of therapy. You know, there should be periods of your life where you don't feel like you need to be analyzed or to be helped with it. You just feel pretty in tune and like you're in the right place, you know? And I think that weed helps with that on a smaller scale, but it's like the day-to-day, you know, it's like, that's where it's like, what am I trying to replace when I'm doing weed? It's like, it's antidepressants, anti-anxieties, like just like minor issues, like, you know, like chronic pain, things like that are like, they're not big enough to stop your day, but they're big enough to make it shitty. That's where I think that weed's really important. But with MDMA, it's like, yeah, you're gonna inject fucking ketamine into your spine. We can't try MDMA first, you know? Like maybe, I don't know, like it's like just like a lot of these things where it's like you really want to be talking about the same minor problems to the same people forever in your life. Do you think that that's going to be the cognitive behavioral therapy that's really going to change something? MDMA, you really, like, these were 3 treatments, and you saw positive effects, so it's like, it really needs low treatment. You don't need to take this at home. You don't need to have, you don't need to take it every day at the same time, all that. Like, that's where I think we really need to push away from, is this idea of perpetual treatment, perpetual sickness, perpetual all that. It's like, you should be taking vitamins that way. You should be eating fish that way. That's what you need every day. You shouldn't be, unless you have like, if you're a diabetic, please take your insulin. But, like, it's like, if you don't need it to live, try to incorporate it in diet and try to fix things with your lifestyle, because the way that I've seen pills work is that there's these demotivated people who are not, they're very sedentary, it's like, that's what they say in school, but it's very true. They're very sedentary. They're either in the car or on the couch, like, they don't really walk, they don't really have hobbies, they don't really do rock climbing, they don't really bike. Like, there's just not that much of a healthy use of the body. So, like, like, that obviously comes with its own things. Your body degrades, you hurt more, you're more sore, and also, like, it's like, fucking every doctor will tell you that just, like, a light run or, like, being outside, being in the sun will improve your mood. So it's like, like, there's these, like, this culture of sickness and sedentariness that's, like, making people feel worse, that is then reinforced by a negative feeling and, like, depression or anxiety or what have you, and then that is seen as another thing to treat. So then it's like, you're getting these treatments and, like, all the side effects from that treatment, in addition to the poor life choices in the beginning, which then just reinforces that and makes it worse, in my opinion. This is what I've seen with the people who I'm related to, so that's just, maybe your mileage may vary, and if treatment works for you, please continue doing it. Again, please take your insulin. But when it comes down to, I don't know. I don't have any firm position here. I might one day, as an advocate, I might sit down and just say, like, I don't believe in schizophrenics getting treatment. Not to say, like, none should, but I would say, like, I don't know what pills I think are the right choice. I don't know what pills I think would really fix them. And, like, having several family members and having seen, like, the variety of places they can go, it's like, I think that the best thing to do is, like, as Carl Jung said, once you understand a schizophrenic, they cease to be schizophrenic. Like, if you give them patience, if you make them feel safe, if you make them feel understood, and you, like, really work through their language with them, they're not crazy people. They're just, you yell at them and hit them, so then they become catatonic. No shit. So it's just, like, I think that it is a lot more to do with life than it is with the chemistry of the body. I think we should stop fucking around with that so much and start just building, like, this is, like, when you're talking about traditional urbanism, Wrath of Known has these really wonderful threads on Twitter that have to do with, like, the old style alms houses and the alms giving houses and, like, things like that for, like, poor people and, like, mothers without, a husband. Just, like, free community housing that you just give to these people, and it's a community in itself, and it, like, like, people try to give them jobs and keep, like, just keep them together. And, like, things like that, if you have somebody who's, like, really falling into cycles of mental illness or, like, addiction or things like that, if you put them in a community like that, I bet you that would have a much more positive effect than just trying to change some fucking, I don't know, man. Again, if it's worked for you and it's worked for the people in your life, God bless, and I'm very happy that that's been your experience. The way that I viewed it, I have not seen that my family, maybe I have observed some people that it's worked for, but in my family, and the people that I feel comfortable judging, the people that I feel comfortable saying that I understand what's what, pills did not help. Pills have not helped anybody in my family. Nobody's gotten better from them. And I think the best thing for them would be re-education. Not to sound like a fucking weirdo, but I do think that they just need to get out of their shells and just see, like, a different perspective of life. They need to walk and talk and just be more connected with the world, and I think that that's really their issue. I don't think their issue is that they need fucking a cocktail, a cocktail of pills. I don't think they need it, and they're also alcoholics, so that doesn't help either. But all right, that's the part of that rant. We're at 30 minutes here. Let's see how much we have left on the other one, because the other one I wanted to use for the description. Yeah, there's a few descriptions on that. We have 3 pages, 3 pages to read on the other one, and I wanted to describe the therapy that they do here. So let's see, what part did I choose? It was the the therapeutic methods. That's what we're looking for. So yeah, there it is. So the therapeutic methods used in these phase 2 trials were adapted from research with psychedelics before these drugs were placed on the Schedule 1 drug list and described in a manual. The first MDMA session is preceded by 3 preparatory non-drug sessions to establish rapport and a trusting therapeutic relationship between the participant and therapist. During an 8-hour MDMA-assisted study at monthly individuals, the approach is largely non-directive with a male-female co-therapist team, creating a setting of safety and support. The participant alternates between periods of internal reflection while wearing eye shades and listening to music with periods of talking with the therapist about thoughts, emotion, and memories that arise. Therapists give support and encouragement for participants to reflect on and discuss whatever is unfolding, including traumatic memories as well as other psychologically relevant material, and will offer redirection as a choice if the participant appears unable to move forward in the process. This approach is based on observations that the pharmacological effects of MDMA in this setting facilitate a variety of therapeutic experiences. These typically include reprocessing of traumatic memories with a clearer recall and increased equanimity without emotional numbing or dissociation. Study participants with PTSD also have valuable insights about other aspects of their lives, and these insights appear to play a role in their overall recovery from PTSD. The manualized therapy allows flexibility for the elements of other psychotherapies that frequently arise spontaneously rather than at the direction of the therapist. These include imaginal exposure, cognitive restructuring, psychodynamic insights, increased somatic awareness, as well as elements of other modalities such as internal family systems therapy, Hakomi, and mindfulness practices. After each MDMA session, participants have 3-minute integrative sessions, 1 the morning after MDMA and 2 during the month following, to process and integrate the experience catalyzed by MDMA. So hypothetically, when trauma memories are retrieved under the influence of MDMA during therapy, a strong prediction error is generated by the unique internal state of MDMA, stimulated elevation of neurochemical hormones, and supportive therapeutic setting. This mismatch of experience, i.e. recall with a strong fear anxiety versus recall with additional emotions such as love or empathy, would allow for an update of information through molecular mechanisms. So, literally reprocessing the same memory, but with different chemical, habit. So it's like when they're talking about changing the chemistry of your brain, this looks much more effective because it is literally taking something trauma that your brain's like, okay, that was shit. That was awful. So every time I think of that, it's like I got beaten by my dad with the flamingo lawn ornament, and I got beaten to a pulp. So now every time I see a flamingo, my brain just goes, ah, shit, and that's like literally your brain's like releasing all of the chemicals and having the reaction as if it's processing a threat because of that association with that. MDMA lets you take the flamingo, so it's like taking that stimulus and then applying a different reaction to it. That's the fresh snow. That's the reset of the traumatic reply. That's like, it's like trying to change a coping mechanism. Because it's like you might have needed it then, but you don't need it now. So I just wanted, that's what I wanted to highlight from that. That part is very long. Because we got like 3 more pages to go on MDMA. I guess we'll come back to it. We'll cover this again, but that's our first day on MDMA, just to bring that in. Sorry about fucking up the. Yeah. We know. But anyways, we had like a whole. Oh yeah, I have like a write up, don't I? Yeah. So. We could go through this, but we've already talked about this enough, and I think so. Like the reason I was going to bring up this is, and we'll go through this later, but these are the medications. That this is schizotypal. This is not even schizophrenia. This is a personality disorder. It shares symptomology, but is distinct in that schizotypals are socially functioning and able to assimilate normally into society. So it's like they have the same symptomology on terms like their brains work similarly. They experience psychosis and they are delusional, but they are with it enough to be not shitting themselves in public. But for this personality disorder, antipsychs, stimulants, ADHD drugs, benzos, and this shit, which treats seizures. You can get hospitalized for a personality disorder, you know? And it's just like, man, dude, like, just for being different or something, right? Just for fucking being different or something. Anyways, this is The Nose by Gogol. I figure we'll read like 10 pages of this, so let me get ready. Gonna roll up another smoke. But yeah, so God, yeah, man, that was actually, whew, I'm not trying to break the fourth wall too much, but that is just a heavy topic because it is so, like, what I really care about is I want people to be able to get better. If people are interested in getting better, then there should be the most effective, cheapest, and like least painful way of getting that done. And that's where it gets emotional when you're talking about like psychiatric disorders, is that it's like we have so many things that have been promising and that we've known about these conditions that we don't really model things around or treat things for, or like, you know, it's like we just, there's enough information to do things in a better way, but we choose not to. And I think that it does really, I mean, not to sound like a fucking typical, you know, political commentator, but I do think that like big money does have a lot to do with it. Where it's just like, because of the sake of making a little bit more money, like, you know, where it's like the paper companies, the alcohol companies, the nicotine companies, all that shit. You know, it's like, well, we can't have weed in it, and like, you know, with MDMA and all that shit, it's like all these like pharmacological, all the pharma companies are making so much fucking money hand over fist. And I mean, I'm so happy that some of them, I think like one of them got sued, the people who made some opiate incredibly popular. But like, you know, it's like, it's just so, it's so obvious to me, experiencing the people who have been prescribed these things, that they don't obviously have a positive effect, you know? Again, they might work for some people, and God bless them. I'm so happy that that works for them. But they haven't worked for any of the people I know. So, no, it's like, it's really interesting once you start. It's really interesting when you go to a therapist and you go to them for like an extended period of time and you just let them know that you're not interested in medication. Because then, like, you just get into other stuff, because it's like, basically, it's supposed to be that you're like, I'm weird, here's pills, the pills fix me, okay, do these pills work or not? Am I fine or not? You know? But when you don't take the pills and you just talk to them, it's funny because they're kind of on your side, and it's like, they call things delusional, but like, it's funny how much or what delusions people share with you. Because, you know, it's like, as somebody who has not the highest opinion of the American government and its track record, I'm talking with therapists about, you know, what would be considered maybe perhaps a conspiracy, where it's like, I don't think that things are what they seem, and I think that things are a little bit more sinister, and then the therapist is just like, well, yeah. No, that's not crazy, you're just right. Like, that's just, yeah, but that's what we see too. Like, once you learn enough, like, you realize that none of us are trying to actually fix things. We're all just, like, running around with our fucking heads off. The culture has no idea where it's fucking going. Like, you know, there is no home for anybody, dude. We're all just fucking on a sinking boat, playing the fucking fiddle, and, like, trying to figure out how to get through the day, dude. So, do you want pills or not? Okay, so what time are we at? What time are we at? We are at 38. So let's just do 10 minutes of The Nose. This is Gogol. It's a short story. It's fucking amazing. An extraordinarily strange thing happened in St. Petersburg on the 25th of March. Ivan Yakovlevich, barber who lived on Von Nesensky Avenue. His surname had gotten lost and all that. His shop front signboard shows is a gentleman with a lathered cheap, and the inscription is, "We also let blood." Woke up rather early one morning and smelt hot bread. As he sat up in bed, he saw his wife, who was a quite respectable lady and a great coffee drinker, taking some freshly baked rolls out of the oven. I don't want any coffee today, Praskoya Osipovna, said Ivan Yakovlevich. I'll make do with some hot rolls and onion instead. Here I must explain that Ivan would have really liked to have had some coffee as well, but knew it was quite out of the question to expect both coffee and rolls, since Praskovia did not take very kindly to these whims of his. Let the old fool have his bread. I don't mind, she thought. This means extra coffee for me. And then she threw a roll onto the table. Ivan pulled his frock coat over his nightshirt for decency's sake, sat down at the table, poured out some salt, peeled 2 onions, took a knife with a determined expression on his face, and started cutting one of the rolls. When he had sliced the roll in 2, he peered into the middle and was amazed to see something white there. Ivan carefully picked at it with his knife and felt it with his finger. Quite thick, he said to himself. What on earth can it be? He poked 2 fingers in and pulled out a nose! Ha! He flopped back in his chair and began rubbing his eyes and feeling around in the roll again. Yeah, it was a nose all right, no mistake about that, and what's more, it seemed a very familiar nose. His face filled with horror, but this horror was nothing compared to his wife's indignation. You beast! Whose nose is that you've cut off? She cried furiously. You scoundrel! You drunkard! I'll report you to the police myself, I will. You're a thief! Come to think of it, I've heard 3 customers say that when they come in for a shave, you start pulling their noses about. It's so much a wonder. It's a wonder how they stay on at all. But Ivan felt more dead than alive. He knew that the nose belonged to none other than collegiate assessor Kovaloyov, whom he shaved on Wednesdays and Sundays. Wait a minute, Praskoeva. I'll wrap it up in a piece of cloth and I'll dump it on the corner. Let's leave it there for a bit, then I'll try to get rid of it. I don't want to know. Do you think I'm going to let a sawn-off nose or lie around in my room, you fathead? All you can do is stroop in that blasted razors of yours and let everything else go to pot. Layabout, nightbird, layabout. See, layabout. There we go. Official phrase. We got it. We got it right there. We got him, boys. And you expect me to cover for you with the police? You filthy pig, blockhead. Get that nose out of here. Out. Do what you like with it, but I want that thing hanging around here a minute longer. Ivan Yakovlevich was absolutely stunned. He thought and thought, but just didn't know what to make of it. I'm damned if I knowed what happened, he said at last, scratching the back of his ear. I can't say for certain if I came home drunk last night or not last night. All I know is it's crazy. After all, bread is baked in an oven, and you don't get noses in bakeries. Can't make heads or tails of it. Ivan laughed in silence. The thought of the police might search the place, find the nose, and afterwards bring a charge against him very nearly sent him out of his mind. Already he could see that the scarlet collar beautifully embroidered with the silver, that sword, and he began shaking all over. Finally he put on his scruffy old trousers and shoes, and with Proskovia's vigorous and invective ringing in his ears, wrapped the nose up in a piece of cloth and went out into the street. All he wanted was to stuff it away somewhere, either hiding it between 2 curbstones by someone's front door or else accidentally dropping it off and slinking off down a side street. But as luck would have it, he kept bumping into friends who would insist on asking, "Where are you off to?" Or "It's a bit early for shaving customers, isn't it?" And with the result that he didn't have a chance to get rid of it. Once he did manage to drop it, but a policeman pointed out with his halberd and said, "Pick that up! Can't you see you dropped something?" And Ivan had to pick it up and hide it in his pocket. Despair gripped him, especially as the streets were getting more and more crowded now as the shop and stalls began to open. He decided to make his way to St. Isaac's Bridge and see if he could throw the nose into the River Neva without anyone seeing him. But here I am rather at fault for not telling you something about Ivan, who is in many ways a man you could respect. Ivan, like any honest Russian working man, was a terrible drunkard. And although he spent all day shaving other people's beard, he never touched his own. His frock coat could be best described as piebald, that is to say, it was black, but with brownish yellow and gray spots all over it. His collar was very shiny, and 3 loosely hanging threads showed so that some buttons had once been there. Ivan was a very phlegmatic character, and whenever the college assessor said, "Your hands always stink," while he was being shaved, Ivan would say, "But why should they stink?" The collegiate expressor used to reply, "Don't ask me, my dear chap. All I know is that they stink." Ivan would answer by taking a pinch of his snuff and then by way of retaliation lather all over his cheeks, under his nose, behind the ears, and behind his beard, in short, wherever he felt like covering him with soap. By now, this respectable citizen of ours had already reached St. Isaac's Bridge. First of all, he had a good look around. Then he went over the rails, trying to pretend he was looking under the bridge to see if there were many fish there, and furtively threw the packet into the water. He felt as if a couple hundredweight had been lifted from his shoulders, and he even managed to produce a smile. Instead of going off to shave civil servants' shins, he headed for a shop bearing a sign, "Hot Meals and Tea," for a glass of punch. Suddenly he saw a policeman at one end of the bridge in a very smart uniform with broad whiskers, a three-cornered hat, and sword. He went all cold as the policeman beckoned to him and said, "Come here, my friend." Recognizing the uniform, Ivan took his cap off before he had taken half a dozen steps, tipped up to him, greeted him with a, "Good morning, Your Excellency." No, my dear chap, none of your excellencies. Just tell me, what were you up to on the bridge?" "Honest, officer, I was on my way to shave a customer and stopped to see how fast the current was." "You're lying. You can't really expect me to believe that. You better come clean at once." "I'll give Your Excellency a free shave twice, even 3 times a week. Honest, I will," answered Ivan. No, my friend, that won't do. 3 barbers look after me already, and it is an honor for them to shave me. Will you please tell me what you were up to?" Ivan turned pale. But at this point became so enveloped... everything became so completely enveloped in mist, it's really impossible to say what happened afterwards. Oh, now I want to spoil that. So that's the first chapter of this short story, and you should fucking read it. It is amazing. It's hilarious. Talking about, like, just fucking... an intro. Talk about, like, just starting in media res. Yeah, I got a nose. And a loaf of bread. What the fuck? What? I think it's one of the best setups I've ever seen in a short story. So yeah, that's please read it, please. Well, we can go through the rest of it on another episode, but at least for the interest of not spoiling it, I think that's just it's such a fun thing to go through. But about so I was having a conversation with my friend Spencer, who was here this week. He was here yesterday, but we were having a conversation about art and about, you know, what you should do, writing things and all this. And like one of the things that we were talking about that I think is important is just finish things. Finish one thing. Find something that you love enough to finish and commit to it and finish it. Because once you have a finished project, you have something that you can critique, you have an understanding of time, you have like a full picture that you can really, you know, work around. And I think it gives you a much better idea of like how long it will take you to do something, what your limitations are, and like how you can, you know, train yourself. Because if you can't finish, then you can't move forward, you know. And like that's the thing, is like, I think ideas are wonderful, but you got to understand at a certain point that the ideas aren't as valuable as the effort. And you have to understand, or you just have to, that's the most important thing about being an artist or producing anything, is understanding how to put in the effort and how to be consistent with your effort. And that's why I'd say just finish things. Find out something you can finish. Find something that you can really be. And I think that if you get that, you got no problems. You got no problems with the future. Because if you keep I think that I think I said that I think hits is that every artist just kept finishing things. You know, every great artist just kept finishing. That's how you get to masterpieces. That's how you get to good work. You just keep doing things. We also have an open Delacroix, so Rubens did not correct himself, and he was right. By permitting himself every liberty, he carries you to heights which the greatest painters barely aim. He dominates, he overwhelms you with so much liberty and audacity. I mean, I don't know, I look up to shit like that, you know? It's just that energy, it's just that virility, you know? That inner strength, that like, because it's like, I think that it doesn't matter what emotion that you're trying to draw from. If you can draw from an eternal fountain of it, then you're expressing life, you know? You're expressing an energy and a commitment to the experience of being alive that I think really hits home and really is important. Because it's like, you just have to give your energy. You have to have enough energy to get through things. And if you can maintain that, you'll get there. You'll get wherever you need to. And I think that pretty much all great artists, all people worth looking up to, have had that experience and have gone through. You know, it's like Eugene Onegin was written 5 times by Pushkin. You know, like it's like there's this level of refining, there's this level of perpetual effort. But I think it's like I never ever want to be an artist for the idea of being done. never want to be a musician for the idea of having like a platinum album. You know, it's like you should only love the work, not the reward. And if you can love the work, then you're fine. So that's like, I think that's good advice. I don't understand, it's pretty basic, but at the same time, I'd say finishing, you know? That's the work. Because if you can finish it, then you can keep doing it, and then you're just in, you know? It doesn't, never worry about being good. Worry about doing it. You worry too much about being good, you get nothing done. So just keep working, and you'll get better at things, because you'll naturally criticize yourself, and also you'll get the muscle memory and the practice in to refine yourself. So that's why I just say just stay committed, in love, and motivated. And that's what I think the best creative advice. Anyways, we're going to return to tradition, and we're going to put on Thank You, I'm Sorry. Again, Minnesota. Fucking awesome band. Check them out. Lots of love. Listen to Thank You too. They have a couple great outings with bands here. But yeah, signing off. Pretty much. Check them out and buy their tunes, dude. Myself, I don't have anyone. I tell myself that I don't matter much, won't ever accomplish the things I love. I tell myself I'm gonna die alone. I tell myself I don't have anyone. I tell myself that I don't matter much, won't ever accomplish the things I love. I tell myself I'm gonna die alone. I tell myself I don't have anyone. I tell myself I don't matter much, won't ever accomplish the things I love. I tell myself. That song's obviously a fucking banger. Killed it, yo.
Wait, oh my god, I started this one. I was like, wait.
Side note, the way she says "figured out," fucking 10 out of 10, peak Midwest emo.
Will I die?
Will the sun explode? Because I close my eyes. Another hour. Brian Solid changed this country. Any better? The crowd's on fucking point. Wow, dude, so sick. I do love the fashion of fucking emo bands, dude, and like emo crowds. I never thought that I dressed a certain way until I remembered that I dress exactly in this way. I like also Big Cup. Big Cup's funny. That's it.
The song is called Menthol Flavored Oatmeal. It's about hating growing up and also like a little bit of fuck capitalism. Realize think I'm gone. Thank you guys again for being here. We have like 3 shirts left over there if you guys are interested. Yeah, okay, cool.
Anyways, yeah, that's a fucking awesome set. They kicked ass. These all the links in the description. Obviously, buy their shit. Support the band. They're great. Thank you. I'm sorry. Follow them on Instagram. I'll do Bandcamp and various. I'll try to find a link tree, honestly. But check them out. Had them on the show a few times. Fucking can't co-sign enough. Anyways, Obviously, so please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. This was High Lit. We got the first, so Friday's episode will be the last episode of the first month, regular content, and we're gonna have 12 hours on the fucking show. Isn't that crazy? Whoa, what? But anyways, if you're an artist, please don't feel shy to contribute or just send me stuff, and I might talk about it if it's, if I have something good to say on the show. So highlitpodcast@gmail.com. It's available on the YouTube page. Just send stuff that way. Follow me on Twitter, Carlisle Fletcher, and I'll see you again on Friday. Thanks for tuning in. I feel like we're getting better with the format. I feel like we're reaching somewhere. I feel like we're getting somewhere with it. So that's cool. That's exciting. Thanks again for checking in. And yeah. See you Friday. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah. Oh, basically night. Have a good rest of your night. Anyway, see ya.